Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking about life and death in the corner. To start off, we have the tripod group. It's one of the smallest shapes that is unconditionally alive in the corner, but there are quite a lot of intricacies and interesting variations here to explore. So firstly, how did we get to this position? One way is to start from the small Knights enclosure, and this is a professional level probe, and this is how black lets white live in the corner. So the standard and simplest way for black to force white to live is to turn. White only has one move, and then to block. This way white has 4 points in the corner. So why did white have to play the Tiger Mouth? Well, if white connected, then there's only one eye. If white descends here, then hopefully you can see that there's a vital point in the corner, which threatens to capture these two stones with a snapback. So if white defends, then black can force white to defend again, and there's still only one eye in the corner. So how about some other moves? If you block on this side first, well, then white can still play this shape point, and the group is alive. If at this point there's a proverb which says that the enemy's vital point is your own vital point. So if black tries to play where white wants to play, then white can Hane, which threatens to make two eyes by playing S19, and then turn and get an extra eye on the side here. If black tries to play S18 first, then it's the same story. White has these diagonal moves that threaten either an eye on the side at the top or on the right. So this time, if black tries to block the eye on the right side, white can make another eye on the top. So there's a tricky one, which is if black tries to take this shape point directly. So if you just connect, then you're in danger, because black continues into the corner. White has to try to make the eye space as large as possible, but however you try to do that, this white group is in a bent 4 situation. So eventually white will have to Atari here to stop black making an eye in the corner. But then the whole white group will be in a dead bent 4 shape. So that's no good. Similarly, if white plays here, then it's really the same story. Black and Atari, and this is a bent 4. So white actually has to sacrifice a stone here, and white can attach. this time, if you do anything simple, white can get 2 eyes easily by capturing the R19 stone. So it won't have helped anything. The R19 will just be helping white make eyes. So black has to accept the sacrifice. And now it looks like it could be a ko, because white can fight over this ko in the corner. But actually, white can live unconditionally here by just connecting. So at this point, if black connects to try to give white a dead, bulky shape, white can easily live. But if you capture, then this, if white captures this shape in the corner, it's not a bulky 5. It's not one of those dead shapes in the corner. So the question is whether white can capture this. So at the moment, white has 2 liberties, and if black can Atari, then white will have to take the ko. And this is what's called a double ko in the corner. It's not a normal ko, because even if black has lots of threats and can win this ko, white can just take the other ko. So however many threats black can play on the outside, there will always be a ko for white to take. So this white group is unconditionally alive, actually. So maybe eventually black will run out of ko threats, and I think in depending on the rule sets, maybe white will have to spend another move. White will certainly have to spend another move when black... eventually the most black can do is just play on the outside, and then white will have to spend another move. So let's just review that variation. So this is a difficult trick move, and the way to defend against the cut while still trying to separate white's eye space into 2 is to play this 2-1 point, after which white can avoid any ko and unconditionally live. So that was a fairly difficult variation. There's another potential trick variation, which is to play here. So it looks like white is completely alive, but when black descends, white has to be careful, because you can try to make the eye at R18 by responding, but then black can Atari, and now it's a real ko. If black has enough threats and white responds, then this is now a dead shape. If white can't win this ko. But actually, if white plays correctly, there's nothing black can do. So white's correct move is to throw in the corner. Black can capture back, but white can Atari from the other side. And there's no way for black to connect to make this dead shape in the corner. So white will have 2 eyes. Playing at T19 would be an illegal move. I said previously that turning here is the simplest way to force white to make 2 eyes, but white has 4 points in the corner. So actually black can do 2 points better than this, black can descend here. If white doesn't have enough co-threats, white has to defend here, certainly if black has support on this side. If you try to play anything else, this group will just end up in a co-fight. Well, white can't connect because that would be a dead group. So in this position there's a better endgame than blocking here. As you can see, there are 4 points for white in the corner. If black descends here, white can only make this shape point to live. And this is 2 points better because white has 2 points in the corner. So if white doesn't play here and tries to turn, then you have to watch out for a potential ko. So if black's thick enough that white can't escape on this side, then locally this is a bent 4. So that's no good for white. In other words, white has to fight this ko. So unless white has enough co-threats, white has to respond here. In which case, black reduces white by the most. The next thing to watch out for is that white has 2 forcing moves, here and here, which may expand the eye space. But whereas in this position the white group is unconditionally alive, if white dares to make either push, the whole group will only be a ko. So it's quite risky pushing. Let's see why. If you push here, then what can black do? If black just hanes, then this is unconditionally alive. If you play here, then it's just this push hasn't changed the life or death shape in the corner. Neither will this. White can still throw in, and white has enough liberties to Atari here. And this is alive. So the difference after white pushes is that black has this move. So if you remember, the only move for white to live here is to attach. And if white tries to play the same way as before and not fight the ko, and try to make it a double ko, this no longer works, because when black feels the liberties, white has to play at q19 to make it a double ko. But in this position that would be a disaster, because p18 pushing here has reduced white's liberties by 1. So now it's a real ko. It's a step ko in white's favour though, because white can tanuki and it's still a ko. So it's a 1-step ko. Of course, if white can push and then use this cutting point, then the pushing will be useful. But it's just something to watch out for with the life and death in the corner. Similarly, pushing the other way puts white into trouble in a different way. So now if you play here, if you play this shape point, then white's perfectly safe. It reverts to the standard variation, and white still has 2 liberties. The difference in this case is that when black turns and makes this vital point. To make unconditional life, you're meant to throw in and then Atari from this side. But then when black Atari's here, you can't connect anymore, because that's self Atari. And it's all because of this push exchange at S16. So now it's a ko. Those are the key variations for the tripod group. So the things to watch out for are if black plays first and wants to maximize endgame, then descending here gets you more points. And there are some tricky moves such as this where you have to respond exactly in order, you have to respond precisely in order to not be dead. So you can attach it. And you need to watch out for this move as well, not to connect here, but instead to throw in. And finally, you have to be careful if you dare to push here. Pushing will get you at least 2 points. Is that right? Yeah, at least 2 points in reverse center. So it's quite a big move, and it reveals this cut. You have to be careful with it. And similarly, pushing the other side. Either push will turn this unconditional life into a coat for life.